All right, everybody, welcome to the coffee run, or as it's going to be known from this point forward, John's bitch hour. That's what I'm just going to bitch for an hour here. I got a funny story, actually. It's not funny, but when I was doing the coffee run, start the show, I'm late today because I'm going to read you a text. Okay, so I started my other show a little bit late because Joe has had a great run, right? And hold on a second. I gotta get down to scroll down to it. My wife sends me a text. I wrapped the other show up, the Daily Paycheck show. I'm wrapping the show up, and I get this text, which I'll show you on camera, so you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but it says Gino. She took Gino for a walk this morning at 7:00, and the text says to me at 7:47, Gino rolled in dog shit. We're coming home. We're coming in hot in about 15 minutes. If you can possibly go up to the bathroom and get the baby shampoo out, right? So my dog 100% went off leash with my wife to the dog park, and there's like a little river down there, and he totally rolled around in dog shit. So he came home. He's a white dog covered in shit. And so we just showered the dog and all that. So that's why I'm late. I don't want any more crap from you, Skill. Sometimes life gets in the way of the show, and that's what happened today. Oh, my gravy. God, shit happens, right? So anyway, all that said, let's get it on here. Let's talk about all the stuff that we have to talk about today. Some of the news and notes that I have for you this morning are these. One, gotta call him out. Joe has had some fantastic roll. Actually, Joe and I both, I'm going to call us both out. Joe had great rolls yesterday. He had a 30 plus and a 20 plus today. I had two 20s yesterday and an 18 today. So far, man, it's been a good couple mornings here, right? Knock on wood. We've had a good week. We've had a good week on our two paycheck shows. So go us, go me, go Joe. It's all good. Joe, by the way, I know you're not here live, but I would love to get the pictures from you. I got to get the pictures of the table so I can add it to the auction stuff. So there's that. The new Crapsy version came out today. By all accounts, it didn't crash, which is good. And I don't know how the betting was. So I think he made some changes to the way the bets work for the player. I haven't tried it yet. So hopefully it worked better. And y'all are enjoying the new Crapsy version. I still want that undo button. My kingdom for an undo button, right? That's all it comes down to. That's my second bitch right there. For Skill, by the way, I hope you saw it. We were talking about John Patrick over text yesterday. Skill challenged me. He said, "Hey, are you turning into a degenerate?" He's like, "You're always talking about home runs. You're always talking about your Dallas drawdown. What happened to my old friend, the grinder?" Right? I was telling him, like, I still will play that way. Like, I still grind. Like, to me, the Horseman is a great grind, right? It's a great grind. And when I'm going to be with in Vegas in a couple of weeks here with Big AZ, I'm going to play for like 11 or 12 hours. I'm scheduled to be on camera with him for like 12 hours of live play. I can't play a Dallas drawdown for 12 hours. There's no way, right? I can't also be home run hitting for 12 hours. I'll run out of money, right? Got to grind. You got to grind it out and find ways to play that are grindy, that have a chance to catch a roll, but really you're looking to tie all day long, right? Exactly. Copy. There you go, Doris. That's a great saying. But anyway, Jeremy rolled out the Patrick system yesterday. I say, hello, old friend. I did a lot of Patrick system when I was younger, right? When I was, playing in my 20s and early 30s, a lot of do we don't, going for the odds, a little bit of, when I would play don't, I would use that to get my don'ts out. It's a genius system in terms of getting a don't pass or don't come bet set. And you watch Jeremy's video, he tied, he'd lose one, he'd win one, he'd win all three, and then he'd tie, lose one, win all three. It's the way that thing works, right? Grinding it out, right? And those old farts, honest to God, will sit there at a craps table for 9 hours winning $4 per shooter and not care. Like that's how they played in the day. That's how I learned, right? I learned from those guys, right? Who cares? Hedge, $4. They didn't take your money. Hedge, $4. They didn't take your money. That's how they played it. And I'm like, today, in today's world, a little different. My goals are different. I'm trying to build bankroll, not survive so much. But yeah, it was good to see Jeremy roll that out, and good that it held its own. And it held its own against some of the other things that Jeremy does. And it was fun to watch that. So anyway, thanks for, I'm thanking Jeremy for rolling out a strategy I didn't create, but it was kind of cool to see it, this little nostalgia there for me. Also, I was behind on casino tiers. I wrote this up here. I didn't listen for a while, only because busy, right? And then I took a hike over the weekend and listened on the way down. Man, you guys, if you're not on Casino Tears podcast, get the podcast. And if you're not paying the $10 a month or whatever the hell it is for the Patreon version of it, do that, because you get the extended version of it. The only thing wrong with the Patreon version is you can't really download it on your phone. Like, there's no way to download it and play it in your podcast app. Like the regular podcast you can get at Apple Podcasts. The Patreon version, you kind of got to play it through the Patreon app instead of it. That kind of sucks, but whatever. It's awesome. Those guys are so much fun together. And they're just, a lot of it's bullshit and a lot of it's joking and inside play and that kind of stuff. But there's a nugget or two here and there that are real good craps nuggets that you can pull out of that thing, besides all the banter. And the banter to me is where it's at. So anyway, get on that if you would. And I'll leave you with this here is my my quest to solve the unsolvable problem, right? I know my math playing friends get on me all the time about trying to solve the unsolvable. Craps is not whatever, right? And I always say, like, I like this game because it can't be beat. Like and roulette, the same thing. Like, to me, all the games can't be beat, right? You can Mississippi, whatever the hell that is, Mississippi Stud or the Texas, whatever, all those games, right? Carnival games, blackjack, none of them can be beat, right? They all have some house edge to them. It doesn't really matter. But sitting there at blackjack, to me, and just going, what does the card say I should do? Every single play is the exact same. Is freaking boring, right? In craps, if you follow the card, it's a come bet max odds, and wait, it's boring, right? It's so boring to play that way, even though it is low house edge. That's why I like to solve the puzzle, right? I like to find different ways to solve the puzzle. Or at the end of the day, you're going to have this puzzle that's missing 3 pieces. That's what the house edge is, right? You're never going to solve the puzzle. It's always me missing the 3 most important pieces, right? The eyeballs in the mouth or something of the picture. But you can solve it from the edges in, you can solve it from the inside out, you can solve it with colors. There's so many ways to get to the same place. That's why I love this game so much. I like that in my life too, right? So I played golf all growing up, right? Which is an impossible game. Golf is one of those games like craps. You can't, very few people, like not even a 100th% of people are good at golf, right? A lot of us are good at golf. Good meaning we're bogey golfers, right? You're going to shoot 1 over par the whole course, right? That's a good golfer to me. 18 over par sucks, but you're good. That's my goal, right? Anything below that, I feel like I'm hitting home runs. But that's a game where you can go to the range every day and practice putting green, and you can practice. It's fun to get better at that, right? I picked up a new one, right? So I'm going to master a new cool hard thing, which is disc golf. I went with my wife and to see the Metallica concert a few weeks back, and Zach and his girlfriend, my son, met us up there. We stayed in a hotel for the weekend, and he got us playing disc golf, which was we all sucked. Like, when I say we sucked, we sucked. Like, I haven't thrown a frisbee in probably 20 years since we took the kids to the beach when they were kids, right? Literally, like, flutter bullshit. Couldn't get it 20 feet. I tried the forehand toss that I used to do. Could not get that frisbee 50 feet down the freaking field, right? And I'm like, okay, that's it. I came home. What did I do? I bought a set of discs. And I went and I practiced like 3 times. So me and Gino went out for a walk yesterday. He didn't roll and shit yesterday. And I practiced. I went out there and I literally for like an hour, I'm throwing the frisbee, he's chasing the frisbee, and I practiced frisbee golf yesterday, disc golf. And I'm going to try and master that one, right? This is what I do, right? I take a thing that, only like whatever amazing athletes can do, and I try and get some semblance of okay at it. Right. And that's the me dice throwing. That's to me the betting and craps. It's all the same. My brain needs something to do. My body needs to perfect something. Right. And that's kind of if you want to know what the why behind the why is, that's it for me. Right. I'm not trying to be a pro disc golf player or a pro golfer or a pro bowler, or my other obsession, cornhole. I'm fucking good at cornhole, but don't at me in the cornhole game. I'll tear you up. There are things that I find pleasure in trying to get the muscle memory and get good at something that you're not supposed to be good at. I love that. And that's the challenge, right? That's why I love all this crap over here. Dice Dr. Dan is correct. 95% cannot shoot bogey golf. Most people are breaking 100 and calling it like happy days, right? It's hard, man. Golf is a hard freaking sport. Golf is hard. Boring is profitable. Yes. but it takes hours. Remember I told you, making a paycheck 25 hours at a time. You try to make today's goal, right? I bought them for 11K, right? Which is 15% of my master bankroll. My goal was 20%, was $2,000. Try winning $2,000, 25 hours at a time. You'll want to pick out every hair you got with the tweezers. It'll drive you insane, right? Yes, grinding is profitable, but you'll be here forever. And I don't enjoy that as a way to build the bankroll. So, yeah, you're right, Skill. I thought Cut was going to lose his mind when he had to do a do we don't. And again, the do we don't, I'll tell you this, in Washington State, you can't do it. They won't let it, right? A lot of casinos, a lot of the Indian casinos will not let you do it. And with good reason. It's just like, casinos want the house edge. And it's a good transition to what the house, let me go forward here. We'll talk about the house edge in a little bit, but the casinos want an edge wherever they can get it, right? The do we don't removes most of the edge. It takes the edge off the right? You can't lose on the don't pass except for one roll of the dice, the 12. You can't lose at all on the pass line now, right? It removes all of that. And if you're going to do the do we don't and then only take odds, the odds have no edge on them either. So if your whole point, the only money the casino makes, guaranteed wise, edge wise, is that midnight on the come out. Otherwise, you got them by the shorties. And they don't like that, right? And the tribal casinos are sweating every dollar. They won't allow it, right? Vegas doesn't care, right? But the tribals won't let you do it. So, yeah, you should pick a side anyway. But anyway, that's the idea. It's definitely interesting. So let's move ahead and jump into the other stuff here. The Craps for the Cure update is this. By the way, crapsforthecure.com is the place to be. I'm not going to drag you there again this morning, but you go there, you can make a donation. You can buy raffle tickets, dollar raffle tickets for all the great items that we have. You can buy merch, and of course, you can register for the event. Now, I've been bitching all morning about a lot of things. We don't yet have rooms. We're working on it. I mean, now here's the deal. Premier Hosting has got a private table set up out at Sunset Station, which is in Henderson. They're getting rooms for a lot of people out there, but it's, and now you got to drive all the way into Palace and you got to drive it's not the ideal situation, but it's my fault. I picked NASCAR race weekend to do this on. And so all the rooms are $500 a night. So we're scrambling to try and find rooms. Trust me, everybody's working as hard as they can to find rooms. I need rooms for Joe, me, and Ryan still. Everybody else I think is covered right now. If you can't come, you can't come. I get it. Right? It's understandable. I picked a bad weekend. So it's on me to pick the wrong weekend. We have to do a better job as hosts to find rooms earlier. So there's the mea culpa on that. I'll own it. Okay. But that's the update here. So more hopefully tomorrow. Joe, give me that picture of the table. Joe says also disc golf was a great cheap sport when they were young. I never picked it up. Just for reasons, right? When the kids were young, my kids played baseball and basketball and volleyball and hockey. We were always in playing a sport, like a team sport. We never did that. We never took any time we had that wasn't in a team sport, we were relaxing. So we didn't do the disc golf thing till like literally 2 weeks ago. Now it's my new obsession, right? Besides throwing the dice. Okay, next, daily paycheck. Look at us, guys. Look at us. We are 12-2 this month, 86%. Man, that's pretty good. Up 15. Remember, I'm buying in for 11,000 a day now. I think tomorrow's 12,000 actually. Buying in for 12,000 bucks, which means I could burn an entire bankroll and still be in profit for the month. Ooh, but I won't do that, right? We're gonna basically go out there Dallas drawdown style, right? There's the three outcomes we have. I could lose my initial spread. I could lose 1/3 of my initial spread, or I can win a paycheck. That's the three outcomes, right? So I'm going to go out 6,400 across. I can lose 6,400. I can lose 1,800, or I can win 2,000. That's the only three choices that we have. So we can survive actually 2 days in a row of getting whacked and still be in profit for the month. Hopefully, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But we're doing okay, and we're tracking along. Our total now is $79,000. Right, our total profit is 69,000. So our total bankroll with our 10,000 starting is $79,000. So we're within 20K, about 10 days or so of play, 8 to 10 days of play, of getting to 100K in the bank. So we'll be at $100,000 from 10,000. Hopefully, knock on wood, before Craps for the Cure. And if we do that, that's fantastic. That will trigger the great reset of this show. The coffee run and daily paycheck will then merge into a single show. That's going to be the idea. We're going to merge to a single show. It'll be called the coffee run. I will be at my table to start the show. I will make my daily paycheck, $500 or so, whatever we decide it's going to be, and then we'll come in here and talk. So it's going to be kind of it'll be a show within a show kind of a thing. There won't be a crap seat portion of that. It'll just be me playing real quick, making the paycheck, drinking my coffee, coming in here and talking. Probably be an hour and a half show instead of 2 1-hour shows. That's going to be the plan. Tom Marco says I'll be playing pickleball soon. I will never. No, I'm not saying never. I won't play pickleball. Only because I have a really, really, really bad knee and a really, really, really bad back, and then I broke my toe. But my back and my knees can't do it. I can't. I tried racquetball. I loved racquetball when I was younger. It was my favorite sport. I tried playing racquetball about 6 months ago, and my knee and my back couldn't handle it. Like, it just could not handle it. I'd have to go to the gym and get another surgery on my left shoulder here before I can play, legitimately. So it's going to end up being money and time at some point before I can play pickleball or racquetball again. Racquetball, I think, is the better sport. I think racquetball to me is my favorite racket sport. It's just fast and whatever. Anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about House Edge. Okay. What is the House Edge? Now we've had this conversation before. I've broken down the math for you. Michael Shackelford's broken down the math for you. I don't want to go down the road of teaching what House Edge is again. I think that's kind of a boring thing. But there was this conversation on Facebook yesterday in one of the craps rooms about ROI versus House Edge. And what's interesting is this argument, like dice influence, will never go away, right? There's the DI is real. There's the you're anti-science. There's no in between there. That's going to be one of these, right? Those two sides will never agree. And there's no sense having a debate about it. You're just going to fall on one side of the fence or the other, right? I tried to thread the needle a little bit by like, hey, I know how infinitesimal the potential of that is, but I enjoyed the practice, right? Here, same thing, right? The House Edge guys, which largely speaking are either math guys who just care about the percentages, right? And I say math guys, not mathematicians. I'm saying guys who just like, the casino's going to screw you. Let them screw you as little as they can, right? They're just purely on that. A lot of them, like I said before, have kind of given up, right? It's like, I know they're going to beat me, right? Let me just flip the table. I'll do the comeback with odds and we'll lower the House Edge. And that's going to be how it's going to be, right? There's that. I feel like that's like I've kind of given up, right? The ROI guys are the ones that are saying, hey, it doesn't matter about the percentages. The House Edge is bullshit. It doesn't matter. It's all about the money, right? That's the argument, right? It's math and guaranteed loss levels versus I am smarter than the math, right? There's this feel piece to the ROI thing. And it's funny because when I watch these guys argue, and I really don't care, right? I really don't care about it because I'm probably on the not worried about the House Edge side of the argument. If I had to pick a side, that would be the side I'd pick on, only because low House Edge plays are boring and I don't want to be bored. That's kind of how I look at that, right? I can sum the whole thing up in this case, right? Financially, the House Edge amounts to the difference between what you should get paid versus what you actually get paid, okay? It boils down to the amount of screw the casinos put to you on your bets. And here's the example I always give, right? It's easy example. A $10 place 5 should pay you $15. It should pay 3-2. They actually pay you $14. They're screwing you for $1. Okay. It's like 8% less payment that you should get, right? Now the House Edge on that bet's actually 4%, but that's because of calculation, right? But here's the deal. They're screwing you on the place bet 5 for about 8% of your bet, right? You do 14 divided by 15. 14 divided by 15 is like 93.3%, right? So it's like 7 point whatever percent. Okay. The dollar on the yo should pay you $18, right? There's two ways to roll it. It should pay you $18, right? 2 to 36, 1 to 18. They pay you $15, right? What's the screw job on that one? 15 divided by 18 is 83. So it's a 17% screw job on the yo versus a 7% screw job on the 5. Does that make the 5 a better bet than the yo? Well, if they lose, it doesn't matter. That's the first thing, right? The yo is a one roll bet. It's probably going to lose. It doesn't really matter, right? If they lose. If they win, it's nice to get money in your rack. 15-1 still feels pretty good, right? 14-10 still feels pretty good when it comes into your rack and you're bringing money in, right? The ROI guys say, how much money did I put out versus how much did I get back in the rack? That's their entire argument versus the percentage of screw on the bet, okay? Again, that can matter to you or it cannot matter to you. Here's the truth of it. Every bet on the table, you can do that same math for. What should you get? What do you actually get? You can divide them up and say, I'm getting screwed by X% on this bet. Do I still want to make the bet because I want to make the bet? That's the decision that you have to make. And I'm not going to give you, like, again, the definitive answer here, because it's got to come from you, right? Is a lower edge a better bet? It depends. I hate to be like that, but it depends. If it loses, it doesn't matter. Okay. But here's the deal. A place bet on the 5 is better than a put bet on the 5. A put bet pays 1-1. The place bet pays, whatever the screw job odds are, right? Place bet 5 pays 14. A put bet 5 pays 10, right? 1-1. A place 5, right? Or I'm sorry, a put bet 5. I should say put bet with 4 times odds is equivalent. Okay. So as the example, if you put the 5 for $10 and put 4x odds on it, $40. Okay. The 40 pays 60. The 10 pays 10. You get paid $70. If you were to place the 5 for that same $50, it also pays 70. The 3, 4, 5x odds effectively equalize everything. If you put a put bet out there with max odds at a 3, 4, 5 table, you're going to be roughly equivalent to what the place bet would have been. The 4 or 10, a $10 with 3 times odds, so 10 plus 30, right? 30 pays 60. The 10 pays 10. That pays $70, right? The place bet of that same amount of money pays the same. That's what this means. Now, if you have a 10x table, a put bet with 10x odds, now you're getting somewhere. Okay, $10 with $100. 100 pays $150 plus the 10 is $160 versus $110 place 5 pays whatever, $140 pays $154. So you're getting paid $6 more. Okay. Think about what I just said. A $10 put 5 or a come bet to the 5. Okay. With 100 times, with 10x odds. So $110 at risk versus a $110 place 5. Same amount of risk, right? The come bet with 10x odds ends up paying $6 more in the end. Okay. Does it make the put bet or the come bet with those max odds a better bet? $6 on $110 risk. Sure. It's better, right? It's not nothing, but it's also not enough to start World War III about which the better bet. Percentage wise over time. Sure. It's going to be a difference if you look at that bet resolving 1,000 or 10,000 times, which it won't for you. For them, it will, but not for you, right? You got to sometimes look at things in dollars and cents, right? The percentages matter, but dollars and cents also matter. So again, a $10 come 5 with max odds is the same risk as a $110 5. It pays you a difference of $6. How much better is better? It's in the eye of the beholder, I guess, right? You had to, and again, if in that example, you had to let the bet move to the 5 before you put the odds up there anyway. So anyway, that's the kind of the look at it. And if you look at like the put versus the come, right? They're not the same. I'm using put bets as the example because ultimately that's the bet that you're left with getting paid on. But the come bet has this weird one roll advantage. The reason why a $10 come bet, even left flat, $10 in the come, goes to the 5, the 5 pays $10. The house edge on that bet, 1.4, is better than placing the 5, which has got a 4.5% house edge. Why is it better? Because of that one roll advantage, right? On the times where that other bet loses the whole $10, you're winning the $10. That doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot. When you run computer simulations of that, you'll find that bet, just one come bet at $10 versus one place bet, and the come bet wins more money because that early 7 and the 11s actually pay off enough the 2-to-1 advantage on that one roll makes up all the difference in not getting paid correctly. It's interesting how that works, right? But we always land on this, but it requires a result to repeat, to fully resolve. So you roll a 5, it goes to the 5. 5 hits, now you get paid. You need that second hit of that same number for the bet to fully resolve, which seems to shift the advantage back to the place better once it's set. That could be said to be true, right? A $10 place 5 always has that same disadvantage, where the come bet has a 2-to-1 advantage for one roll and then the same disadvantage after that, right? In the house edge, we calculate based on probabilities winning versus losing, okay? In the come, it's more complex, the math. And again, I don't want to get into the math of it. It's complex, but that's why the house edge on that one's a little bit lower. What I like to do sometimes, though, is this, and I've done this with you before. Look at all the scenarios that can happen. We can go to the table and play this out a little bit, right? If you look at somebody who just puts $10 on, let's take the 5, okay? $10 on the 5, boom, place bet on the 5. And somebody else puts $10 in the come. Here's all the things that can happen for the most part, right? You have PSO. On the PSO, that 5 loses $10. The place better lost $10. The come better wins $10. How many times do people say the come bet doesn't matter? That one roll doesn't matter. PSOs matter. They happen all the freaking time. That guy's actually up in that scenario, right? If the shooter never rolls a 5, right? If they never roll a 5, the place better wins $10. The come better doesn't have any result at all, right? It never rolls a 5. That bet is in limbo, may or may not win, may or may not lose, right? There's a 0 difference there, right? If they roll 1 5 and then a 7, so you're in the come, guy's got a place bet up, right? The place bet pays $14. That person's up $4. The come bet travels to the 5. They 7 out. The come better's down $10. The place better's up 4. There's an advantage there. If there's 2 rolls and then a 7, what happens? The come better or the place better is on the 5. They get paid the $14. They're up $4. They get paid a second time for $14. They're up $18 as profit. The come better goes to the 5 on roll 1. It gets paid for $10. They go back in the come and the 7 comes. They're up 20. They actually have an advantage in that situation, right? Then you get into 3, 4, 5. You can play this out all the time, right? Ad nauseum. The place better ends up having the advantage after the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th of the same number repeating because they're building profit from the original bet. Once they got the first one, they're always going to be good. The come better always has to have that weird rhythm that comes through it. They end up making money, but at a far less rate later on. The odds are where they make up their difference, right? And again, with all scenarios do this, but I don't like to do just the come versus the place to me. To me, the come bet versus the place bet, it's an okay argument, but it's boring, right? There's other examples out there, like I showed you before, of where the odds or where the house edge can get you or bite you, right? And again, it doesn't really ultimately matter other than the big one. Let's go to the table. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to change mics here. Let's go out to the table. I'm going to really talk through one quick example and we'll do it what I just showed you. I mean, I think it's important to see it in chips. I always like to teach in chips when I get a chance to. Let's walk around here. And I think we'll do that 5 example and what I just kind of showed you. So let's take the 5 as the example, $10 5. Now remember, what it should pay you, right, is $15. You should get paid that because you're at a 3-to-2 disadvantage, right? You're 4 ways to win, 6 ways to lose, or a 3-to-2. You should get paid 3-to-2, but you don't. You get paid 14, and the house keeps the buck. That's the house edge, right? They're pocketing that. They're giving you less than you should when you win, but they're taking 100% of your loss when you lose, right? That's the difference, right? They take if they only took $9 from your loss, right? Then there would be no house edge, right? That would be, right? That's if you think of it that way. So that's the live example there of that one. And again, all the bets can be done the same way. Interestingly enough, the 4 and 10 are kind of interesting. So check this out, right? The 4 at $20. Now that's the first level you can really buy the 4, okay? And here's the thing I would say to people who say that house edge doesn't matter. Would you buy the 4? And they would say unanimously, yes, I'd buy the 4. And why would you buy the 4? Well, because a place 4 pays 9 to 5. And again, let's just take that. The $5 bet should pay 10 bucks. 3 ways to win, 6 ways to lose. You're a 2-to-1 underdog. It should pay 10 bucks. What does it pay? 9 bucks, which is a worse screw job than that was, by the way. Okay, that's worse. You get $9 instead of 10. It sucks. Okay, so knowing it pays 9 to 5, if you put 20 bucks on it, okay, you're going to pay 9 times 4. What's 9 times 4? 36 bucks, right? 25, 35, $36 is what that would pay as a place bet. Okay, nobody places the 9 for 20 bucks. Everybody buys the 9 for 20 bucks. Why do you buy the 9 for 20 bucks? Because 20 pays 40. True odds minus $1. So technically speaking, it pays that, $39. Okay, what's the difference? For you, it's a positive $3 difference. Okay, get the 7 out of the way. It's a positive 3 for you to buy it. That's it's paying the juice, the dollar juice, to lower the house edge on the bet. Now, the ROI people will always make that bet because it lowers the house edge. Why wouldn't you? So if you're going to do that, why would you ever choose to place it versus buy it? It's the same thing as saying I would choose to place this versus put it, right? Again, it's the same payment, but the house edge is lower. And again, it's all kind of a weird visual. So let's do the thing with the 5. We'll take the 5 as an example. Let's do the miracle runs, okay? Place bet 5, come bet, points 4, doesn't matter what the point is, right? So we roll a 5, okay? The player who's got the place bet is gonna win 14 bucks, okay? I'm gonna put $10 away because that covers the bet, okay? His profit is 4 bucks. This come better just moves in on the first 5. On the second, right? Now, at the same token, a 7 here is a win and a loss. So there's the come better's primary advantage. But if we don't get a 7, then we roll to the 5, and then roll a bunch of other stuff, and then roll a second 5, okay? This guy here is gonna get paid 15 for 1, $14, 15 for 1. Now he's got 18 in profit. This guy here is getting paid 10 bucks and coming down, okay? And again, the 10 he started with is fine. There's his 10 profit. So he's upside down a little bit, right? He goes back into the come, okay? If we catch a 7 here, he loses that bet, he wins that bet, and guess what? He's got 20 in profit plus his original money back, right? This guy here is only $8 in profit now. He has to go back out like that. See the difference? Right? The lower house edge comes from that roll, and the difference in outcome in those different rhythms is a thing. Let's put it all, let's go back though. Let's say that we got this. We're here, we're in the come, and we don't get that 7. It goes back to the 5. Now we start seeing some difference, right? Again, 15 for 1. He's now got all this money in his rack. Look at that, he's doing great, right? And we're sitting here like dummies, right? The next 5, again, 15 for 1, he gets his 10 bucks and comes back down. He's got 20 in profit, maybe back in the come. This guy over here is doing great, right? The ROI player has got $46 in the rack, plus his bet is still out here. Here we've got half that in the rack, and our bet is still out here. Now again, if the 7 comes on this particular roll, fantastic. We catch that. Now we have 30, and we're catching up, okay? The rhythm of this guy here is different, right? That one roll advantage lowers the house edge. That's where the house edge gets lower. Now, what's the better bet here? Right? You can look at this and say, look, we had the same number of 5s. This guy here has got maybe 20 bucks in his rack. He's got double the profit. What moron wouldn't want to do this versus that, right? The difference comes when you get to put odds on there, okay? The odds start making up some difference. And again, it's kind of an unfair comparison because when you go in here and you drop odd, even single odds on it, right? You're going to get paid more, but obviously the difference is that the risk level is different. But check it out. Let's do it like this. Let's say we have this scenario. $10 and $10. The bet wins. 14 bucks, you keep 4 and you press 10. Let's just say that's what you do. He moves in and he drops the 10 bucks on top. Now they have the same amount on the number. Here's where it gets interesting, right? 20 pays 28, right? How much risk did this guy have on this hand? This guy's only got $10 at risk because the second 10 came from his win. So out of his bankroll risk is only the original 10 bucks, right? If he pulls this $10 down now, that's where he ends up, back to his original risk level, okay? This guy here's got 20 bucks at risk. He didn't use wins to make the odds bet. He used his rack to make the odds bet, okay? I'm gonna put that right there so you can see, if again, let's say he regresses down to his original. He's gonna get paid, if the 5 rolls, $10 on the flat, $15 up top. His original $20 at risk is the same as this guy here having his original $10 at risk. He's got 25 net. He's got 25 here. He's actually up by, look at that, $17 difference. In the same number of rolls, doing the same things, right? You end up with the same size bet. This guy's $20 bet came from profit. This guy's $20 bet came from his rack, right? Lowering the house edge sometimes costs you more money. You got to put more money at risk to achieve the lower house edge. To lower this thing down, it's going to cost you a little bit, right? That's the piece that the house edge only team doesn't always talk about, right? The volatility that you experience when you're making that super low house edge bet, because you got to pull money out of your rack to make it low, right? And that's the difference. That's the difference. So summarize, I would say this. I would say that looking at just those two bets, the come versus place bet, okay? The place better has a higher house edge. The screw job on the payment is palpable. It's touchable. You can see it in chips. I just showed it to you in chips. You can see the difference in how much they're taking from your win, right? You can call that a tax, call it a premium, call it whatever you want to, but you're paying the premium to get flexibility. You can pull the bet down whenever you want to. You can put it wherever you want to. You have choices, right? To get that choice, you pay a premium, and that premium is called the house edge, right? You can have it working or not on the come out. The come bet doesn't have that choice. The come bet is very inflexible. You can't say where it goes. You can't turn it off on the come out. You can't pull it down. You have no flexibility, but you have a low house edge, okay? The place better can achieve bigger results with lower volatility. A $10 bet can turn into a $20 bet with no more money coming out of your rack. You can double the size of your bet without incurring any penalty from your rack. The come better, to get that same bet level, has to let a bet travel first and then add from his rack. Higher volatility, potentially, to achieve that super low house edge, right? There's this kind of the scales of justice, I guess, right? Is how I look at that. Like, that's the difference between these two play styles, right? It's not the percentages to me. It's the flexibility. And again, as a come better, the high volatility, it's not nothing to put a tiny bet out there and a bunch of odds to make up for it, to make up the low house, to make up that house edge, right? It's the best bet in the house, but it's got to come out of your rack. It doesn't come off the table, right? So when you have the conversation with somebody, and again, I think this is one of those conversations where we don't have to be like here, right? There are pros and cons on both sides of this thing. There's a definite pro to playing place bets. You get flexibility. You can do what you want to. You don't experience the come out crazy. A lot of goodness, but you're giving up a lot of percentage of your win. That's the price you pay. That's getting Haagen-Dazs versus Turkey Hill ice cream, or Haagen-Dazs ice cream versus nothing, right? Versus buying the ingredients yourself and making them, right? You go buy eggs and cream and sugar and spin your own freaking ice cream, or you buy Haagen-Dazs. Paying a premium for the Haagen-Dazs and it tastes great, right? Way lower price for the other one, but you got to work harder for it. That's a good example, in my opinion. At the end of the day, you can't escape it. House edge is a thing you can't escape. And you got to decide for yourselves how you want to experience that day and how much that screw job really matters to you. Does it really matter to you that they're taking a higher percentage of some of those bets when they win. That's the thing, right? And that's all I got. That was it. I wanted to address it. I know there's no there's no hard and fast conclusions here on this one. I just wanted to show you some of the different examples there. Now, guys that play come bets, right? You can make bank on come bets. It only takes one to win, right? You get one come bet up there with max odds and it pays. That bet win plus the odds win can fuel the rest of your play, right? That you can win enough on one win to cover everything else and let that thing keep rolling and rolling, right? You can definitely do the high volatility from a win, but you got to get the win. And to get the win, you got to push from your rack. That's the biggest difference to me, is the push from the rack is way more for those bettors. But that's not the only place you experience the edge, right? We talked about the prop bets, the hard ways bets, the ATS, all those things have an enormous house edge. They're taking so much from you on those bets. It's a convenience, right? You're paying a convenience fee, I suppose, is the best way to look at it. So don't get sucked into 8-1 or 9-1 or whatever it is that you're seeing on these bets as being a good play. They're taking a higher percentage of your winnings from that every single time. So, all right, let's go look at questions. Are there any questions? Yeah, the flat come bets actually do work well. I mean, honest to God, the flat come bets are fine. People rag on you for that. The flat come bet still is a 1-4 house edge. It's still the lowest house edge of all the, right? It's fine. If you have money to put odds on it, great. But by itself, it's fine. You don't need odds on it. It's still a great bet. That one roll advantage is enormous. You don't realize how big the come out roll is for a come bet. That's a huge advantage. That one roll advantage, a 2-1 advantage is enormous. And it wins a lot. 2 come bets up there, 1 in the come, the 7 comes, it eats one of the bets up, right? It reduces the loss. It's not a bad way to play. I love flat come betting. I really do. As a tool. I don't play that way all the time, but it's a great tool to play. Waylon's 100% right about that. Alan, there are definitely Patrick systems that are on the right side. He's lots of right side betting. He's a big believer in regressions. So Patrick will be the one to tell you that this is, Ben, back in the $5 days, right? $12, 6 and 8, win $14, go down to 6. Every bet after that is what he calls up and pull. So 6 pays 7, it goes to 12. 12 pays 14, goes to 18. 18 pays 21, goes to 24. Go up a unit. Patrick is a proponent of what's called up and pull. It's the 1 unit press. That's he's been talking about that since the 70s. That's his thing. He does have many, many right side systems. He's got, if you have the green book, I don't know if I have it here. Do I have it here? Yeah. This one here, the So You Want to Be a Gambler Advanced Craps book. This book here has got probably, I don't know, I don't know from where they start. From about, not there. I know this is super fun for you guys, right? From about page 220 or so, right about here, until about here. It's got about that many pages in it. That many pages are strategies, just all different ways that, like this is the Color Up channel in a book. These are all different named ways to play. Half right side, half dark side. He's got a lot of stuff in there. If you read that book, by the way, it's hysterical. Like it's literally like he was talking and somebody was typing as he talked, and that's what the book became. There's no editing, there's no filtering. You're a moron if you do. He's hysterical. Like it's a good read because it's so old. Anyway, what else do we have? Someone talked about tools a long time ago. Yeah, Jacob. Jacob's all about having the tools in the belt, right? Let's do are there any other questions in here? Let's see. Where do you get that book? That book might be available on Amazon. I can guarantee you that Garrison's got a copy of it. Reach out to Garrison Russell. He's going to give a copy of that book away in Craps for the Cure, but it may be out of print. So look at Amazon under the used books. And he has got 2 of them. He's got Advanced Craps and Basic Craps. This one, it looks blue, but it's actually green. The cover of the book is green. So classic stuff right there. What do we have else? Any other questions? Yeah, the difference of the house edge on the hopping 7s versus any 7. There's a point in time where they diverge, right? So we can do it. Let's take a look at that. Want to go out to the table? I think it's kind of fun to break some of these things down. Let's just do it. Let's go. Got to do an even number of bets, though, right? And there's a point where it makes more sense. Let's go here. I'm going to take all these things out. And let's do this. The any 7 bet pays 4 to 1. You can see it here, but probably not that clear. Let's do a $3 any 7. Let's do a $3 hopping 7s. Okay? What's the difference in those two bets? Okay? The $3 any 7 pays 4 to 1. 12 bucks. Right? 4 times 3 is $12. That's what it pays. Okay? The hopping 7 pays like this. Let's say it's the 6-1 is what rolls, right? You're going to lose the 5-2. You're going to lose the 4-3. Okay? That pays $15. I'm going to pay it like this. 10. I'm going to pay it like this. 15 to 1. You put those two back, and guess what? You have an extra $1. Why would you ever hop it? Why would you ever play the any 7 bet? Right? It makes 0 sense to do that. The house edge, just you can see the difference right in front of you. The difference, that buck matters. That $1 in your rack matters over time. You play the any 7 as a convenience bet because it's simple. You're giving away $1 on the win, right? And it just gets worse and worse and worse the more you do it, right? That explodes out. Let's say we do it for, let's say we do a 5-5-5 on the hopping reds, right? And a $15 any 7. What does it look like when that wins, right? So 15 times 4, how much is 15 times 4? 60 bucks, right? 60 bucks, $60 in your rack. Here, you lose 10, you win 75 bucks. I'll pay it like this. You put those two back, and you're at $65. Right? More money in your rack. That matters. That $5 is important over time. Right? This is where, again, they make convenience bets. They do things that look like they're easy to do. That's a screw job. Right there, the any 7. Right? And again, that's the house edge built into it. They do some math on this thing, and okay, that's what it's going to pay. And where did 4 to 1 even come from? Right? How did you arrive at the 4 to 1 payout? Right? You have to look at how many ways that bet can win or lose. Right? And that's how they figure that out. Right? On a 1-roll bet, right? You have 36 combinations. You have 6 of them are 7s. Right? How many of that? It's 6 to 1. Right? It's 6 to 1. Is that correct? Is it 6 to 1? 6 ways. 6 ways to lose that bet, and 1 way to win that bet. Essentially, right? When it all comes down to that, right? There's a difference of how many. Remember this, guys. How they calculate this stuff, right? There's 6 ways to lose, 1 way to win when you reduce the fractions down. Okay, that's 7 total outcomes, 1 of which is good for you. Okay, 4 to 1 ends up being the payment. Isn't that interesting, right? You can say that the 2 cancel out. It's 5 difference. You're getting paid 4. That's how I look at that bet. The house edge on that is 16% is the house edge on this bet versus the hopping. Hopping bets are like 11% or something like that. There's a difference, and you can see it. That's the difference. You can see it in chips. You can see it in chips when I pay the bets out, the difference in how those two things pay. Again, I don't have the calculations in front of me, don't know the exact numbers, but when I look at it in terms of dollars and cents, you probably didn't hear any of that because I was on the do it again. Couldn't hear me. I'll do it again. Hold on. Let me go back there. I'll do it again. Yeah, you didn't hear it. Let me run it again. Sorry. I'll go out there and do the whole thing. It's actually a pretty good little demo. Let's do it again. And again, I don't know the percentages here, but let's just, by memory, let's do it again. The hopping reds versus the any 7. Okay, the any 7 pays 4 to 1. Let's put $3 on the any 7. Let's put $3 on the hopping reds. Okay, that's the 5-2, the 4-3, and the 6-1. Okay, let's say we roll a 6-1. What happens? The guy who bet the any 7 at 4 to 1 wins 3 or 4 times 3. 4 to 1 is the payment. That's $12. The guy that hopped the reds loses the 4-3, loses the 5-2, right? But he gets paid $15 on the 1, 15 to 1. He's going to put back the other 2, let's say, and he's got 13 in his rack versus 12 in his rack. It's $1 difference. On a dollar bet, that's a big freaking difference, is it not? Right? You might say, huh, who cares about a freaking buck? Right? You play the NE7 versus the hopping reds, you got rocks in your head because you're giving it up, right? I said earlier, would you ever choose a high house edge bet? A lot of people play the NE7. Why? NE7? Because it's easy. Versus hopping the red. I don't know why somebody makes that choice, but that's what they do. Let's look at it with nickels, right? It's the same thing, but here we go. Let's have 15 bucks on the NE7. Let's have $5 each hopping the reds, okay? This pays 4 to 1. What's 4 times 15? I think it's 60, the last I checked. 60 bucks in your rack. In your rack. This, you'd lose 2, you'd win 75. 15 to 1, okay? You put those 2 back, now you have 65 in your rack. And again, the difference there is $5 difference on the payment. You're still gonna get burned for the same 15 bucks on the loss. Your risk is the exact same, 15 bucks, 15 bucks. The difference is how much less you're getting screwed on the payment. And that $5 is an enormous freaking difference. It's an enormous difference. Over time. That's a big deal. That's one of the most obvious things I can show you with regards to how the casino just gives you one of these every chance they get. Every chance they get, they're doing that to you. The casino around here has got an S. They have C, E, and S. So you can just go $15 on the reds, right? They're sucking $5 out of you every time you win the bet. Isn't that brutal, man? That's just absolutely freaking brutal, you know? So anyway, that's kind of how, and this is a 16% house edge. 16%, right? Because they're just not paying you even close to what the probabilities are, right? So you should be getting paid 6 to 1 there, or at the very least 5 to 1, right? Because remember, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to lose that bet and 1 way to win it, right? You're a 6 out of 36 chance to win, right? So 1 way to win, 6 ways to lose, right? What is your spiff there? You're at a 5 to 1 disadvantage effectively. You're 6 to 1 here, but you're 5 to 1 the probabilities, right? Instead of getting paid 5 to 1, they're getting you 4 to 1. That is an enormous stick in the ass right there from those guys. So again, the casinos will do what they can to make things seem good that are really, really bad, right? And again, the one fit. Oh, fuck! I wasn't on the thing. I gotta do it again. Good Lord, now I gotta do it again. One more time. Jeez, Lou. All right, here I got the right microphone. Wow, the right microphone and the table view. Want to try it one more time? God, talk about a shit show. I told you today I'm off. Having to clean the dog shit today was making it a mess. Let's do it one more time. One more time. Can you see it? Here we go. I'll do it one more time because now I want you to see the bets. My God, what a good dumbass. This actually is a really good demo though because it'll stand the test of time in terms of I can chop this out for a small video. Let's look at the NE7, which pays 4 to 1, versus the Hoppin' Reds. Third time I'm going to explain it today. Here we go. The NE7 pays 4 to 1. Let's do $1. Right? 1, 2, 3 on the NE7. Okay. We'll do 1, 2, 3, $1 each on the hopping sevens. Okay. Again, the NE7 pays 4 to 1. 3 times 4 is 12 bucks. The hopping reds pay 15 to 1, but you're going to lose 2 of them. If the 6-1-7 rolls, you're going to lose the 4-3. You're going to lose the 5-2, but you're going to get paid 15 bucks on that one. You put those 2 back to your original bet. You have 13 instead of 12 in your rack. That's the difference of the 4 to 1 NE7 versus the 15 to 1 hopping reds. Now, if it's 15-4-1, different story. Then you're here. Right? Then it pays 14 to 1, not 15 to 1, essentially, and that dollar goes back away. So the 4-1 and the 2-1 are a big deal. Okay? Pay attention to that because the 4-1 pays like this. You lose those 2, right? You're gonna get paid like this. It'll be 15 for the 1, when you put your three bucks back, you're in a tie. So the 4-1 adds the house edge back. It makes those two bets equivalent. If it's a 4-1 table and you want to hop the reds, just bet the any 7. If it's a 2-1 table, you should always hop the reds, never bet the any 7. And again, if you increase the bet sizing, it's more compelling, right? There's a $3 any 7, or a 3-unit any 7, a 3-unit hopping, right? Again, on a 2-1 table, that pays 15 times 4 is 60. Here, minus 10, but you paid 75 to the 1. Those two go back, and look at this. Now it's a $5 difference. There's the difference between the any 7 and the hopping reds. That is huge right there. Over the course of even 10 outcomes, 10 times that bet resolves for you, that's $50, man. That's a lot. That ends up being a huge ROI decision driven by a shitty house edge, okay? And, you know, I think you should know that. I think that's an important thing to get out there. And again, we look at, like, you know, why are we getting screwed so bad on this thing, right? This bet here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to get beat and 1 way to win, right? 6-to-1 disadvantage, okay? When you look at the the math on that, right? What it really should pay you is 5-to-1, right? What they pay you is 4-to-1, right? That right there is that's the house edge in vivid color. This is the, remember I said it's the level of screw that they're putting to you. That's the level of screw they're putting to you. It's a 16% house edge on that bet because they're not paying you what the odds are. 4-to-1. 4-to-1 when you're a 6-to-1 disadvantage, right? It's insane. So anyway, here we go. Let's get back over here. Now, I explained that thing like 5 times. Hopefully that makes all the sense in the world. I think we did okay. I think we did okay. My God. Wow. Jen says, no hops on Carnival, and any red is only good if you don't have increments of 3. For example, you have a spare 4 or 5. Yeah, that's really no hop bets on the Carnival. My local casinos don't have hop bets on the layout, but they'll take a hop bet. They'll take a hop bet for whatever the inside action is. They just don't have room on the table for it. I've never seen a casino not accept a hop bet. Even in Philly, they don't have them on the felt, but you can ask for it and they'll take it. So, all right. Anyway, whoo! Thanks, Dan. Hit the thumbs up, please. I never ask for that because I don't care. But it's kind of fun when I get a good rating. 42 watching, 15 thumbs ups today. That's actually 42 watching. That's like a record for the week. So hope you had fun today, right? Again, I take this stuff seriously, but also not so seriously. At some point, like I said in the very, very beginning, this game is like a puzzle that's missing a few pieces. You're never gonna make the puzzle. You're always gonna have the Mona Lisa without eyes. At the end of the day, you have no eyes. Now, if you're only ever doing place bet 4 and 10 and never buying them, you're gonna be missing the eyes, nose, and mouth. If you're buying the 4 and 10, you might just be missing 1 eye at the end. You're never gonna complete the puzzle, right? The house edge is basically saying how much of that puzzle is left undone at the end of the day. And your ability to place bets and move shit around and do all the things, how do you want to build the puzzle? You want to make the edges first like most people do? You want to start with the insides. You want to start with the face and build out from. You can attack a puzzle in 55 different ways. At the end of the day, it's going to either be a puzzle or it's not. And if you're missing a piece, which the casino always holds a piece in the back office, you're going to have an incomplete puzzle every single time. Unless you're Jimmy and you always make a perfect puzzle, right? I have to give that guy shit every time, right? But that's the way that this all works, right? It's all about, to me, how you want to build your puzzle. What tools do you want to use to build the puzzle, right? What are you going to pull out of your toolkit to build the puzzle? That's the most important thing to me, enjoying the process. If I got to sit at that puzzle and be pissed off all day and bored all day, I'm not doing the damn puzzle, right? That's all that this boils down to. That and being careful, right? Don't build the puzzle with razor blades. Don't cut yourself while you're building it, all right? Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. I got to get to work. You guys are awesome. Love y'all. Jimmy is losing views. Good. He should be. John is my Bob's my uncle. I think I'm the only person online who says that anymore. That's such an old saying. That's from my hockey days. I used to coach and play hockey, and that was definitely a Canadian thing, a Bob's your uncle kind of thing. So, all right, did we just learn? Yes, you did. I was supposed to show you things 7 times before you get it. I showed you 3 times in a row. I showed you once, I said it once, and I did all 3 at the same time. Terrible. All right, you guys, get out of here. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. Love y'all, and I'll see you in the morning. Yeah, that's it. Have a great day. God bless everybody. Bye.